How's it going today, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Creatives, Connecting Fashion and Film. I am one of your co-hosts, Tevin Brown.
And I'm your other co-host, Simone Campbell. And today we have on a caffeine enthusiast, professional coffee maker, coffee creator, all of the above, coffee educator. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about his creative craft. Here today we have Juan Certain. Thank you for being here, Juan.
I know. Thank you so much for having me. It's so exciting to be able to talk to people about coffee, and it's really my passion. I was born into it. I'm third generation coffee grower, so we grow it, we import it, roast it right here downtown.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Best coffee in the world, I believe, Colombian, subjectively, but best coffee in the world. Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's me.
Fantastic.
So you said you were third generation. So I guess the best question was like, did you always kind of like know like that was your passion? That's what you wanted to dive in? How, I guess the better wording for it, how necessarily did you get started in all of it?
Right, cool. So no, it wasn't always my passion. Mm-hmm. I was born into coffee, but we lived in a city, pretty large city. The farm is about 2 hours away, so we would drive for the weekends. But it's a working farm, so there's nothing to do as a kid. So I would hate going to the farm.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, now with the business, I romanticize it, and it's beautiful. You know what? The interesting thing has changed. So I do have these memories that I love, and I think that they gave me the foundation of who I am.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it. Then when I moved to the U.S., they didn't have good coffee back then. So I stopped drinking coffee. Like, I didn't drink coffee till I started my business.
Wow,
That's how
all
much.
together.
Yeah, in
Like, it's not worth
2009.
it.
I was like,
Wow.
so, yeah. That's the story. Actually, I don't like hot liquids. So I don't like soups. I don't like tea. I don't like hot chocolate. I don't like any of that.
Really?
Except for coffee now.
Except for your coffee.
Yes.
Except for that is
Yeah,
peak irony.
Yeah.
So you, from there to owner of The Brew, Albuquerque, correct? And being a celebrity barista. What happened in between? Tell us a little bit more about that. Yeah, no.
So my brother and I started Villa Miriam. It was called in 2009.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my favorite coffee shop.
Is it? Well, the brew's much better.
That is crazy.
Because neither my brother or I are there anymore. So now it's just its own thing, which is fine. We love VM. I ended up selling it in 2019. I feel VM was growing too much. And I love community. I feel like coffee, I know coffee is community. And coffee is the foundation for every revolution, every thinker, everything that has happened since the Ottoman Empire. So it's been such a gathering, such a thinker, such a revolutionary beverage. That's what I want. I want to meet people. I want to make friends. I want to know people. I want to travel the world. And through VM, we opened The Brew in 2013. And The Brew was more the community, not as big.
A little intimate.
Yeah, very intimate. In 2015, we started providing a white label. We do white labels for a lot of companies, but we started working with a couple of UFC fighters who were doing a white label. And they had a third partner who was the personal trainer for Tom Cruise. So Tom started drinking our coffee. And in 2015, he was going to shoot in Colombia. He was going to do American Made, which was my first movie with him.
Yeah.
So they called me in. It was the funniest call. It was like, it's Tom's sister, Cass. And it was like, and where do we get your coffee? And I was like, what? Like, who's calling me? And I swear, I thought it was a prank. I was like, okay, no.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sure. That was me. Sure. So I explained, right? Even though the coffee grows in Colombia, I bring it here in green, and then we roast here, and the brand is in the U.S. So the coffee you can't buy in Colombia. Which, by the way, we have awful coffee in Colombia. It's changing, but ironically, we have bad coffee in Colombia. So then she's like, okay, let me call you back because I offered I can send you coffee every week, so it's always fresh. But of course, I want to caffeinate Tom Cruise, so I was like,
oh yeah,
I'll make it work.
Yeah.
And then she's like, can I call you back? And then she called me back, and she was like, what about a coffee service? Would you be interested in doing a coffee service? And I was like, what does that entail? What does that mean? And they're like, no, well, Tom drinks a lot of coffee. He drinks espresso. That's all he drinks. He doesn't do milk, sugar, any kind of carb. anything else. That's why he looks so good at 63. And then I was like, really in my mind, I was thinking, the apron and like little, like bringing.
Your espresso
Like,
set.
yeah. Like in Colombia, we would say la de los tintos, which is like the one with the coffee. And I really didn't know how this was gonna be. This was a great movie. Did you see it? American Made. A lot of planes, a lot of. So going down there, I was still believing I was gonna be pranked. Like I was gonna show up on set and they were gonna be like, "And you're who?" Like what?
You believe that?
Yeah. Like you just came here for what?
Yeah.
But funny enough, of course, they were waiting for me. They sent a driver for me. They brought me into set, and I couldn't believe it. We were shooting, the first time we were shooting at this, American Made happened in the 80s, and they were shooting at this drug lord's house, which is still in Medellin. And it was a beautiful, giant house. But it was so funny. I was very little in the 80s, but I remember the hair and the skirt and the, like everything. And to see everyone dressed like, and it was so real. And then to see Tom, and I was like, they didn't introduce me to him. Of course not. They protect Tom quite a bit. Yeah. For the first couple of weeks to see who I am, to see how I work, which is, I feel like that's pretty.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Right? So, but to see him close and to think that I was making his espresso and he was drinking his espresso, that was pretty amazing. His assistant would come pick up the espresso and then he would take it to him. And we filmed all over Colombia. It was so much fun. And then he said, "So we're traveling to London?" And I was like, "What?"
What?
We're doing outtakes for Reacher too. And I was like, "Of course we're traveling to London. Who cares about VM? Like, I'll just travel to London and make you coffee." Well, that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Like you can't just say no to that.
To Tom Cruise.
Exactly.
How is he going to sprint without your espresso?
Yes, agreed. He started running much better after my espresso.
Yes.
But so I said, I need to come back to Albuquerque. They said, well, by the time they move everything, it'll be a couple of weeks. Ended up coming back. And then I flew into London. And I didn't want to be a burden to them. So they're like, "Should we hire you a driver?" And I was like, "No, just like rent me a car." I didn't know they drive on that side of the road, but I didn't think it would be hard. And especially with a stick, because they don't do a lot of automatic vehicles. And that was quite the adventure to go to studio and start shooting. We finished that out. It was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks doing outtakes. And then he's like, "So we're going to Namibia?" And I'm like, "What? Like now is Africa? Like we're going to Africa?" Yeah, I mean, it was like the craziest. And it took me a couple of movies to think, this is my life. Like I'm really working with Tom. Like we became friends. He's a great guy. Yeah. The whole crew is a great crew. Like he's always around. Like, he has a personal trainer and all. And we became really close friends and almost like a family because you're together so many hours a day. It's like 12 hours a day. 6 days a week when we're shooting on location. So it was super fun. Like what an experience. We ended up flying to Namibia. I actually had a wedding, so I ended up going to Colombia, and they flew me from Colombia to Namibia, which meant I had to go to Frankfurt, which was like 12 hours, and then from Frankfurt to Namibia. Ignorant me, this was super ignorant, thinking Africa, it's hot. Yeah. So I was in Cali, which is hot, and so I just brought my shorts and my t-shirts and my stuff to work because I thought Africa is hot. And as we're landing, we landed pretty early in the morning, like 5 a.m. And the pilot goes like, "Welcome to Windhoek." And temperature is -4. And I'm like, "What?"
Oh no.
This was centigrade, not Fahrenheit, but it's still, I'm still freezing. And I'm here with a t-shirt and jeans. And I'm like, I didn't bring one sweater. I didn't bring one jacket. And I'm in the middle of Africa because Windhoek is the capital of Namibia, but we were shooting in Swakopmund, which I didn't know. I mean, it was a small town, and I was like, okay, now I need to buy sweaters and jackets and stuff. So anyway, and that's been my life working with Tom.
a grand adventure. He's like, so that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been meeting, you know, Superman. We did Mission with Henry Cavill, and I just love Superman. And to see him and to serve him coffee, because the way you're trained and the way, once you become part of his entourage, we're extensions of Tom. So we need to make sure any of his guests, any of the other actors, directors, anyone, producers,
Yeah.
I need to make sure that they're also being taken care of as far as the drinks, coffee specific, because I only do coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been incredible. I still don't believe it sometimes. Like that's what I had to live, which is super exciting.
Totally. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And
So how long was kind of like all of that stint? Because I know you were talking about American Made, and then also I forget which Mission Impossible that was with Henry Cavill.
6.
6.
Yeah.
And then 6.
Best one
Did
so
you-
far.
I really enjoyed 6. I've been on the journey of like recently like going back and watching a lot of them because I know that he has, I believe it's 8 coming out.
The
pretty
8th
soon.
is the last one.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
You never know.
Well,
never say never ever.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, did that also kind of continue? I guess my question is, because, like, you're getting closer and closer to COVID and everything there, and I know Tom was one of the people who was, like, very strict about kind of, like, how, like, everything went on set while they continued filming through COVID. Like, were you there for all of that as well?
Nope.
And,
So the mission that just came out, the Reckoning Part 1, I didn't do that one because they shot on 2021, I believe, 2022.
yeah.
So we were shooting Top Gun.
Oh, okay.
We finished, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I was actually flying to Venice the day before they closed Italy, where nobody knew what was going on. You remember how it
Yeah.
came into Italy, and it was like
ghost town.
we had no idea, right?
yeah.
And you know, they called me and they're like, "Can you fly?" And I'm like, "Of course." And then they said, "Okay, Thursday," and I was like, "Okay, Thursday." It gives me a couple of days. That's fine. Then they called me and they're like, "We're gonna wait one day because COVID, which we didn't know what it was, but this is going on. Let's wait till Friday. Let's give it 24 hours to see what happens."
Yeah.
And then by Friday, they had decided everyone needs to leave Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Production is canceled for now. And so I didn't get to be part of that one. When they started shooting, they did very strict control. So it was only essential personnel only. And apparently coffee is not essential, which I can't believe that.
Thumbs down.
Yes. I mean, you can't live without coffee, I thought.
Exactly, especially on those sets. Ask any film person if coffee is not essential and see their reaction.
And then ask what kind of coffee they get. Usually pretty crappy coffee. So
Oh, yeah.
people, it's been
Yeah.
pretty loved on set.
Wow. So it's been such a journey, and you know you're still running the brew, and you know you can tell that what I love about people who love coffee is they speak about it like it's their first love. So where has your passion been taking you recently?
So recently what I've been doing is I started, when COVID hit, I realized if I have to close the brew, which after I sold VM, I bought a roaster and I'm roasting and I'm doing the whole thing. But when COVID hit that we had to close here and it was so hard, I realized if I lose the brew, I start from zero.
Yeah.
And I realized I have all my certifications. I've studied for over 15 years coffee. I'm also a 3rd generation coffee. I'm a grower, roaster, barista. Like I do everything. And I was like, well, what if I put the focus on my name? And why don't we start in Colombia, which, like I mentioned, we produce the best coffee in the world, in my opinion. But we don't drink the best coffee in the world. So I was like, and we don't know a lot about coffee. And I was like, well, let's start a lot of education in Colombia. So I started my own page with my name. And then I tried to flip the script and make it, instead of pushing for the brew, it was Juan Certain, celebrity barista, and working with Tom and all this stuff, using that platform to be able to get to all these actors in Colombia. You have so much credibility with my portfolio, with my resume, I guess.
Oh yeah.
That I've been able to work with really impressive actors in Colombia and become friends with a lot of people who have given me that platform to get to more people in Colombia and be able to educate, which is so important to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And that kind of, does that kind of feel, what's the wording there? I don't want to say full circle, but because I also agree. Also, I will say, I think Colombian coffee is the best coffee.
I agree, 100%.
But I guess I never realized that, like, I always assumed, like, where, like, especially, like, Colombia, like, they would kind of make it as well as, like, drink it themselves. And so does it ever feel full circle for you to kind of, like, go back and give that impact
Absolutely,
of teaching?
it's incredible. But what you're saying, a lot of people think that, and a lot of Colombians think they know about coffee. Unfortunately, or fortunately for, I don't know where to stand on this one, Colombians won't pay the price that exporting coffee will.
Right.
Because there's no education, right? And we were brought up with, it's called pasilla, which is the rotten beans, the stuff that you can sell in the market and you just over roast it to just get that burnt flavor, and then that's what you drink. So it's been absolutely full circle. It's been super exciting to educate. It's super exciting to see Colombia coming into third wave and seeing new roasters show up and seeing the SCA show up, which is the Specialty Coffee Association, and having specialty coffee brought into Colombia, and see that now we're doing new fermentation processes and new stuff in Colombia that is super exciting, and I'm super excited to be part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how, especially in the culinary world and, all of the branches from there, it's its own creative art form in and of itself. So how do you feel like everything that you're doing, from the education to the actual coffee roasting to everything in between, like how does that express your creativity?
It is actually super exciting to be in the forefront of coffee and being able to go to these farmers and see what they're doing. For example, they're doing a lot of coffee fermentation with fruit. I don't know if you guys have tried that.
No.
So when we're talking about the process of coffee, we're talking coffee is a fruit, and what we drink is the pit. How do we get to the pit? So there's different processes of how we get to the pit. That part, because we've done a lot of creativity on drinks, right? And what does it blend, and how do we cook, or what do we do with it? But this new part is super exciting to be there and to be able to see what they're doing. Like right now, I'm roasting a Castillo, which is a varietal that has been fermented with green apples. So when you drink it, it's very, very strange, because we know coffee for one flavor, and this to bring so much stuff into it is super exciting. So it allows me to be very creative. They invite me to a lot of farms. They hire me to go to a lot of farms and then kind of try coffees and kind of give that creativity. What is it that we could work with based on the profile of the bean? What is it that we could, how could we make it even better? Yeah. So it's super exciting.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is super cool. One of the things that I want to do is start bringing people to the farms from here so that they can actually, coffee lovers, of course, so they can actually see the process. Since unfortunately, coffee doesn't grow in the U.S. So a lot of people don't know what it looks like, what is the process, what is it that we do, and I feel like it's such an important beverage in the world.
Of course. And sharing the knowledge and the history is huge.
That's where it's at. I believe it.
I love that so much. And I love your story, and it gives the perspective of like so many things that I feel like people kind of don't think about or miss, or it's kind of all of the pieces of you genuinely don't fully ever understand how much goes into even the smallest thing.
Of course.
And I can't even call coffee the smallest thing, because I depend on it way too much. I would not be running.
You and me both. Oh my God. It's like if I don't drink my coffee, I'm in a bad mood.
It's over.
Like, do not talk to me.
Like, oh no.
Not a person yet.
That's me.
And so I guess as we're rounding it out, is there any, like your socials or websites or anything where people can kind of follow and kind of like learn more about kind of like not only your story, but your process and all of these different things?
Well, if you're in Albuquerque, you can always come to the brew. And I love to bring you to the roasting room and do the whole education piece if you're into it. And it takes 15 minutes. And I love that. If you are on Insta, thebrewabq.com. The Brew ABQ is our handle. And my personal, which I do in Spanish, but have you seen the new feature on Insta?
You can see
Where you
translation.
can
No, but now, and I'm on the beta, I guess, because of my followers and everything, so I get
Okay.
new stuff, and it'll change it right away. Like you will listen
Whoa.
to me speaking in English.
Really?
And even it's freaky. It's actually
Whoa,
freaky.
haven't seen that.
But
But I know
it's-
I was looking through socials and I
It
was
is
like,
super
yeah.
exciting. So maybe, yeah. So my
Yeah.
personal is Juan.Certain with a C.
Okay.
Okay.
And there you can either translate it, read it,
Mm-hmm.
or if you speak Spanish, you can definitely be educated. But it's coming. You can see it in
Yeah.
English too, and I only have to record
Listen.
once, so that's exciting.
Very cool.
That's insane.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
21st
I could
century
not
things.
believe it when I saw it. A guy in Colombia who's a huge influencer, huge. He does a lot of, he goes to the small places that are hidden and he highlights the place.
Yeah.
And I follow him because I love him. And suddenly a video came up of him and he was speaking in English. Same tone, same voice, moving his lips. And I didn't realize, and I was like, I didn't realize he spoke English that well.
Yeah.
And then it said,
Like,
it's AI
Like
and it's
translated
generated
through
and
the-
it's all this stuff. And I was like, oh
Whoa,
my God, the
that's
future is
surreal.
here. Yes.
it is. Oh my god. Juan, thank you so much for being here.
No,
for sharing
super
your story.
exciting that you guys,
Seriously.
thank you for having me because it's
course.
always good to have a platform to be able to talk about coffee, to know how many people touch coffee, how many families touch coffee, why coffee is expensive. Like those are things that are very important. So being able to connect with the community and being able to explain it is the love of my life, I guess.
Wonderful.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Creatives. I am one of your co-hosts, Tevin Brown.
And I'm your other co-host, Simone Campbell.
And on YouTube, please, please, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe so we can bring more people on here, have more episodes, be able to just grow this show to genuinely what we all know that it can be. And it has been such a fun ride already, and I never want it to stop. So please, please, please. Yeah, and please have a great night. Thank you so much to Studio 519. Thank you so much to our producers. Thank you so much to my amazing co-host, our amazing guest. And thank you so much to everybody who tunes in all of the time to watch all of these. And please have a great night.
Thank you.